Hi lovelies, welcome to the Doghouse with me, Ria Bow, and he's Mike Phillip of American Nook Radio, kjjradio.com, and Tactical Health with Dr. Glidden. How you doing, Mike?
Hi lovelies.
Yeah, you're all lovelies to me. Welcome to the Doghouse, guys. For some of you, this might be new. We're going to say hello to Gary in the chat. Hi, Gary. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Justin Cringe. I loved your tweet, right? I'll talk about that in a minute. If anybody on Facebook, Mike's monitoring Facebook. If you're streaming on Kevin's, which fingers crossed it is. And otherwise, if
it is. In fact, we've got a very active chat over on Facebook Live. Big hello to Rick Wright from Alberta. Mike Phillip is also in central Alberta with the beautiful and talented Ria Bow. We've got Lisa Miller, Rena Sanchez, Heidi Rigby, Chloe Garreau, Rod Robinson, Rick Boswick, bunch of beautiful people over at Kevin J. Johnston's Facebook page. This is a brand new show. It is the Doghouse with myself, Mike Phillip, and like I said before, Ria Bow. Now, all you guys in North America that are thinking about dog paddling across the Atlantic just to maybe, get some time with Ria, if you do that, she will most definitely call the bobbies on you.
Oh, God, that'll teach me for talking to Mike off air, wouldn't it? It always finds its way on air, God almighty. Right. Guys, welcome to the Doghouse. Some of you may not know me. Mike and I sort of been hanging out for a while, doing this show, developing it. We're also working with Kevin to develop the radio station idea, which is fast turning into a video platform. And the three of us have got together and we're chatting. Obviously, he's off to Myanmar. But I'm going to start doing the technical stuff behind the scenes because he's not really been able to cover ground with the radio station thing. And I'm going to try and help out to turn it into, to bring you different content to Kevin's channel right now. Like this. This is going to be a little bit different for you guys. We kind of do, we're on the right hand side of things, but we do it in a slightly different way. So I'm just going to start off with the world weather, as I usually would, just to get us in a sort of global frame of mind. Alberta -28, Toronto +1, England +7, Nice, south of France +11, Malaga +17, Camrose -24, wow, Cairo 19, Rio de Janeiro +32, everybody down to Rio, Rome +12, Cape Town +25, Moscow -5, Seoul, Korea -11, Mumbai +27, Tokyo +5, Sydney +20, Oslo, Norway at 0. Guys, I just want to give a quick shout out to a website called wickedvid.com, spelled WIKID, wickedvid.com. You'll find that live stream here. We're going to try and make it a safe place because obviously we've got articles on the news today about censorship and everything. Kevin's being hit left, right and centre, and we're trying to create a sort of safe zone. If you want to pop over to wickedvid.com, you'll see our live stream right here, right now, but you'll see all the global headlines from your favourites: Alex Jones, Breitbart, The Corbett Report, RT International, the shift plan, just stuff that we maybe look at. Just cruise down the page and you can do it audio style like a radio while you're getting loads of other information. And if you see anything you like, pop it in the chat and we'll pick up on it as well. Hi night and day, thank you for coming along. And that's a little bit about Wicked Vid. Could be our safe zone, Before I throw it over to Mike, I want to say we play the accent. We guess the accent, right? And last week KH got it, and I've sort of sent a message to you. Hi KH. I sent a message saying sorry we missed it, but KH and family did get Mississippi last week. So before we move on, I'm just going to play the accent for you guys to guess the accent. Just drop it in the chat and then we'll get on and I'll throw it over to Mike. So it's guess the accent. Where's this dude from?
To remind you, we got a lot of guns down here. We hunt, we fish, we burn up the ozone layer with our four-wheel drive trucks and our diesel engines. We refer to women in our lives as dear darling and sweetheart, not as a term that's derogatory or offensive, but as a term of endearment, and most of them tend to like it.
Where's he from? Where do you think he's from? Just drop it in the chat. There you go. Okay, Mike, what's on your mind?
I'm going to say Utah.
Utah. Oh, my pen and paper. I've not come prepared. Utah. So
Write
far,
down.
we have a Utah. Mike, anything on your mind before I move on to a story?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say that I'm extremely proud of my good friend and co-host
Yeah.
Kevin J. Johnston. He was on the War Room with Owen the Destroyer Schroyer last night, a product of Infowars.com. Then this morning, he was on Real News with Mr. David Knight. And I'll tell you what, this alternative media thing is exploding. And this is what we're doing here. So, I mean, just like what Alex did with InfoWars, we're going to do the same thing with FreedomReport.ca, WickedVid.com, American Hawk Radio. There's going to be content coming at you live over on Kevin J's Facebook Live, our respective websites, YouTube Live, all over the place. So you're going to get your opinions out. All you deplorable Canadians out there that are so pissed off and tired of mainstream media, guess where it's at, baby? Over here with Mike Phillip, Rhea Bowe, Kevin J. Johnston, and we're going to go supernova. We've got a ton of guesses coming in over on the Facebook Live chat. Have you got your pen out, Rhea?
Okay, step at a time. Let's slow it down, but let's go for it. Go on then.
Oklahoma. That's Kat Finnegan. Rod Robinson says New Mexico. Rick Boswick, Louisiana.
Wait. Mexico, New Mexico. What else have we got?
Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Andreas Butkus says Texas.
We've got 2 Texas so far.
Heidi Rigby, Alabama.
It's a lovely accent, isn't it?
Yeah. Joshua Demarchant says Winnipeg, Manitoba. That's interesting.
Go on. We like that. So far we've got
We
Utah.
do.
So far we've got Utah, Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Louisiana, another Texas, Alabama, and Winnipeg. We had an accent from. We did a Winnipeg, didn't we, Mike? Oh, have we lost Mike?
Accent. We'll get a big, juicy, kissy-wissy from Rhea Bowe herself. That's the prize here.
Really? And dinner out with Mike Phillip. All right. Okay.
We'll talk.
We'll just talk. Did anybody see my tweet to Justin Trudeau?
I did, actually. That was great. Hey, listen. Rhea, have you got that in front of you? I would like to have you read the open letter that you wrote to Justin Trudeau. Can you do that for us?
Right.
Because, you've got that sexy accent and all. Listen to this. This is an open letter that Rhea Bowe wrote to jihadi Justin Trudeau. Go ahead, Rhea.
Wait a minute. I've got to find it. I wasn't ready for this. I'm sure I kept
Oh,
it
okay.
somewhere. Okay.
It's got to be on your Twitter feed.
Yeah, I need to find my Twitter feed. Mike, fill some space while I go to my Twitter feed, would you?
Yeah, no problem. So in the news today, in the that was slightly a little bit excessive category, guy in Arkansas stabbed his woman to death because she changed the channel on his football game.
Whoa.
Now, seems a little excessive to me, but I don't know who was playing. Now, what I want to know is what kind of drugs was this guy on? Because he claims that he blacked out, and when he woke up, he was standing over his bloody wife holding a knife, so he threw a blanket over her, wrapped her in a tarp, dragged her in the backyard, called the police and said, you better bring some cops and a meat wagon because they just killed my wife. What drugs was this guy on? Because that's not normal human behavior. And like this morning we discussed on KJJRadio.com and Facebook Live, these drugs and antidepressants and select serotonin reuptake inhibitors that they're handing out like popcorn or popcorn chicken to people are causing murder and suicide. Rhea, did you find a letter?
I did find the letter, guys. That sounds like a crazy story, Mike. So this is what I wrote to Monsieur Trudeau. I got to thinking about staff. We had Jane coming in, who's in a really tough situation, and I tried to contact Mr. Trudeau directly and got nowhere. So I thought I've just got to use what's to hand. This is the beginning, I've got to say. This is the beginning of more to come as I sort of work on this to get their attention. And it says this: Dear Justin staff, I'm British. I've recently started a little show that I co-host co-host by a Canadian American. I know little about Canada except that I've met a lot of people on air and off air that hate you with a passion. Are you aware why these people hate you so much? And could you explain to me why you seem to be helping everybody else but Canadians? I've recently been contacted on my little show by a lady who is in her 50s with MS, living out of a car in the Canadian winter. As a foreigner, how on earth am I supposed to think you are a good guy when you allow that kind of thing to happen? If you'd like to pop by for tea and scones to put your side over, you're more than welcome. But until then, start looking after Canadians.
Very well said, Rhea. And Rod Robinson over on the chat on Facebook Live said, how is the fund for the woman in the car? He's talking about Judy in Vancouver. Incidentally, that was, I believe, the lady you were talking about in that open letter to jihadi Justin Trudeau. And I have done a lot of thinking about that lately. We were talking about starting a GoFundMe page for her since her own government won't look after her. But I've come to the conclusion, Judy, if you're listening, I think that what you need to do is start your own GoFundMe page, because that is the only, or Jane, sorry. Was it Jane?
Yes,
yeah,
Jane. It's Jane.
You need to start your own GoFundMe page, because that's the only way that we can ensure that any donations get directly to you. So, you need to start that page and post the links over at kjjradio.com and the Facebook Live. And I think that there was a lot of people that are willing to even just kick in $5 to $20 if enough of us do it. We can actually make an impact in this woman's life so that she can have a warm place to sleep at night and eat food. Jane Gruber. There you go. I said Judy. I know Jane is she's yelling at me. You can tell when it's all caps that you're being screamed at. But yeah, so I like one of the comments here too over at the Facebook page. Justin Trudeau Cringe Channel said he was either on SSRIs or a heavy dose of Islam, talking about the guy that stabbed his wife to death. Yeah, you never know. He might have been huffing Islam. You never know. He might have lit a Quran on fire and breathed deep in a bag. Who knows? You've got some stuff you want to get to, though, Rhea. Go ahead.
No problem, guys. If you want your live chat to come up on screen, which is fine where you are on Facebook or whichever platform you're on, because we're streaming out to 14 plus embedded into websites, you need to go to YouTube and type in Rhea Bow, and then your comments will come up on the screen for everybody to see. And we're streaming out into the African continent, into Asia, all over the place in this affiliation that I'm setting up. So if you want it on screen, it's Rhea Bow. If you want to stay on Facebook, I'm good with that as well. We've got a comment coming in. But I wanted to ask you guys a question about what is your favourite news outlet. I wanted to get some feedback from all of you. Where do you go? Obviously, we use quite a few, but do you have a favourite? Mike, do you have a favourite place where you kind of rely on and go to in terms of a news source?
Well, I have got to say, off the top of my head, the Genesis Communications Network. And the reason that I say that is because, well, I mean, number one, they're my syndicator at American Knock Radio. And number two, because I found so much great information over the years listening to GCN. I started out listening to the Alex Jones show when Alex was the same as me. He had a small studio in his house, which is what I've got going on right now. Over the years, I've accumulated different things. I've got studio lighting and obviously a chroma key screen behind me, which I don't use all the time. But on the doghouse, it works great. So I found Fire Your MD Now with Dr. Peter Glidden over on GCN. He taught me how to get back the health of my wife, who was in excruciating pain on a 24-hour-a-day basis. We fixed her up, got rid of my asthma and allergies. Then I met Dr. Peter Glidden. He had me co-host his show over on GCN. So now all of a sudden I'm not just a listener. I'm an actual announcer on this network. They got so much positive feedback from people wanting to hear more of Mike Phillip. Why, God only knows. But, now I've got my own show, and I've got several different platforms, and I'm very, very excited. I was born to do this. I don't know why or how, but I keep stepping into these little situations, and they're great. Jane Gruber says she was not screaming at me. She just had the cap lock on. Had to point that out. Over to you, Rhea.
Or reverse the whole. Okay, Jane. Hey, whether we got it wrong or not, heart's in the right place, right? We want to see something good happen. I do. That's why I wrote to Justin. I got thinking about it and went, God, that's just like rubbish. So, like I said, that's going to be one of a few tweets that's going to go out. And I did that one in a hurry. I'm going to do the next one more considered. And I've got one in. We've got some in, right? So I'm going to take Justin's. IKH, she's on another platform. I think she's on Periscope. KH says American radio is the best news so far. Oh, that's lovely. Jack says Justin Cringe channel. Rhea Bow is my fave. Thank you, Jack. And you're not naked this week, which is different. I've got to say. But hey, we're all good here to go. And could you take Night and Days because it's for you, Mike, please?
I had a little freeze up on my end.
Okay, could you take Night and Days before it disappears off the screen? And
Yeah. Night and Day Plumbing Solutions over on YouTube Live. Mike, there's been a big movement in the UK recently to try and reduce or remove non-recyclable plastics that eventually end up in our food chain. Is there any such movement in Canada or the USA? Short answer, yeah, there is. There was commercials on during the Super Bowl, I remember a few years ago. I believe it was when the Denver Broncos won the last one over I believe it was the Indianapolis Colts, where a man was standing in line at the grocery store. The clerk said, paper or plastic? The guy says plastic, and he is swarmed by a SWAT team. And remember that song Dream Police by the band Cheap Trick? Well, they had a bad knockoff of that playing in the background, the Green Police. So, they are starting these environmental motions under the guise of saving the planet, when in all reality they are just going to take away everything that you have in the name of saving Mother Earth. Oh, yeah, we need to save Mother Earth. Tell you what, Mother Earth didn't give a damn about the people of Haiti in that earthquake, did she? Mother Earth will wipe you out with a supervolcano. Mother Earth did not spare the people around Mount St. Helens. And now she wants a break? Hard cheese. I say we give it to her royally.
I didn't know they called the people that operated the HARP systems Mother Earth, but we'll move on from there, Mike. So we've got someone just joined. Black has just joined on another platform. Hiya, Black. Cool name. Very this year, I must say. Right, I'm going to move on to another one. Don't forget about putting in your favourite sites as well, guys. And I'd like to know where you go to find your news source. Don't forget wickedvid.com. You can peruse through the whole site. There is so much information on there, you wouldn't believe it. Some you might find interesting. I would say you probably will, but I don't know. Right, I'm going to move on to a story here about, because Kevin J is getting censored, I picked up on a few internet censorship things that are going on. Excuse me. Governments and corporations escalate internet censorship and attacks on free speech. The year 2018 has opened with an international campaign to censor the internet. On January the 1st, the German government began implementation of a network enforcement law. On January the 3rd, French President Emmanuel Macron vowed to introduce the ban during election cycles on what he calls fake news. God, big brother. On December the 28th, the New York Times reported that Facebook had deleted the account of Ramzan Kadyrov, a Chechnyan guy. This week, the Iranian authorities blocked social media networks, including Instagram, which were being used to organise demonstrations against inequalities and unemployment. Facebook has continued its crackdown on Palestinian Facebook accounts, removing over 100 accounts at the request of the Israeli government. The ruling elites all over the world are meeting this reinsurgent of class struggle with an attempt to stifle and suppress freedom of expression on the internet under the false pretense of fighting fake news and foreign propaganda. I just can't help but feel, guys, that they read George Orwell's 1984 and went, oh my God, we're going to use it as a handbook. So if George Orwell ever comes back, I need to have a sharp word with him, Mike.
Yeah, George Orwell, actually, that was his pen name. His real name was Eric Blair.
Yeah.
He wrote 1984 in 1948, and he was spot on. The only criticism I have of 1984 is that he didn't go far enough. It's at
Oh.
a point where you're going to have a mandatory chip in your brain, I believe. But, yeah, I mean, Kevin was automatically locked out of his donation page as soon as he announced that he was going to be on Infowars.com. A lot of people were worried because while he was live on the air, his website, freedomreport.ca, went down. The fact of the matter is it just crashed from the volume of traffic that was going to it. And that happens when you get on Infowars. Once again, very proud of my friend for achieving that. And it is going to boost our overall numbers as a whole. So this whole thing is going to get bigger. We're all growing together with Infowars, the Rebel, all these other great media outlets. Now, I incidentally walked away from my own Facebook account, just like you're talking about, Rhea, because I went to log in one day and I had my name on my account as Americanuck Mike, which as far as they're concerned should be fine. I went to log into the Americanuck Mike account on Facebook, and they informed me that I couldn't log in until I sent them some form of government ID so that I could prove what was happening, or that I was really who I said I was, which is none of their damn business. I mean, if I want to call myself Fred Flintstone, why would they care? I mean, it's not like it's a government facility that's some kind of level 3 classified information going on at Facebook. Far from it. So I walked away because I wasn't going to send Facebook my government ID. That would be stupid. So I walked away. And now I actually am using my wife's account. And so that is working out. Phoebe Long says, Mike, what happened at Kevin's show this morning? Phoebe, the power went out. The power went out right at the moment when he was supposed to do a sound check with Infowars. Right at that moment. So, coincidence? I don't know, but that's what happened.
Yeah, they've got some pretty fancy IT guys, you know. They can do stuff, no problem at all. And when someone's a straight talker like Kevin, you know, you need someone around to build the firewalls and keep them out, as it were. But a power cut, that's something else altogether. And I'm just going to take a few messages. Jack says, Justin Trudeau Cringe Channel says, Drunk News Network was good last night. The guys get hammered every time. He may be dead soon. I drop the link in on the video, Jack, would you, so I can see that? I'd really like to see that. I've threatened it a few times, but only some people, not to get hammered necessarily, but just to have a drinky that Mike doesn't do, apparently. Night and Day says, I'm going to have a stab at Arizona as the voice. I've got that Night and Day, no worries. Justin Cringe says, Kevin has scared the crap out of the lefties. He's playing the Trump card. Lovely pun as well. And just something sounds fishy about that. Have you got any stories you want to move on to, Mike, or shall I take one?
The only story is that Justin Trudeau Cringe Channel apologized earlier for not being naked, and I would just like to say, I think you're going to have to leave, Cringe.
Don't leave, Jack. I loved your video.
I'm just kidding.
Like. Yeah, I loved the video.
Yeah, everybody check out the Justin Trudeau Cringe Channel. Subscribe to it. Hit the little bell because it's hilarious, and I think he's trying to make fun of Justin, but Cringe, you're actually making him look better than he does in real life. Anyway, go on, Rhea.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I love them. I'm looking out for them, you know, and like you say, Justin Trudeau does a sterling job by himself, doesn't he? And I asked on last week's, how on earth did that guy get in? But how do any of them get in? I don't know. They know people, don't they? And they want in on the payroll and all that kind of stuff.
That's it.
So I've got a link here. I'm just waiting for Skype to sort itself out, which Mike is coming across on, because we've got different camera angles. But I don't want to zoom in on Mike too much until Skype's cleared up. But I'm going to show you something, guys. I wanted to show you this. People that are regular watchers of the Doghouse know I have some maybe slightly different priorities to your own, and one of mine is technocracy. I have a real concern about technocracy, robots and so on, and how many billions and trillions and squadrillions of dollars are going in to develop robots, AI and the like, which to me is really on the radar. I managed to pick up a clip, and I wanted you to see this clip that was sent across. This was done by scientists, as far as I can make out, to warn us, to let us know, to say, look, get this on your radar, because this is what could be coming. I'm going to bring up the clip for you to watch and see what desktop and cam. Right, here we go. Let me bring up the clip for you guys to see. Oh, that's the wrong one. And just check this out.
Customer pilots directed almost 3,000 precision strikes last year. We're super proud of it. It allows you to separate the bad guys from the good. It's a big deal. But we have something much bigger.
Hope you can see that.
Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that?
That's something to be concerned about, right? I think it's something to be concerned about. And what's more, if you go on further into the video, they show you the back of it like a transporter plane. You know, where the back comes down, and then they just all pour out the back. And then you have bigger ones, and is what it does, the bigger one just flies at the side of a building and sticks to the building. Then just explodes, creating the hole for the little ones to get through and hit people between the head. What's your take on that, Mike? So we've got Slaughterbots. Is it a band name, or do we think it's a real concern?
I think that it would be a great band name. We are the Slaughterbots, Cleveland. But yeah, you're right. It is scary. And here's the thing. If this is what's coming out of the minds of men with the technical digital revolution that's happening on the planet with AI and all these things happening, this is actually, in my opinion, the tip of the iceberg. I think it'll be worse than that. And but, I mean, think about this, Rhea. All of this constant R&D, our own money that is being poured into it to give these eggheads ideas on how to kill more effectively and remove humans from the equation. Why are we paying for that in the first place? And here's the deal. If America and Canada have that, then our enemies will have that. Now, we talked about Agenda 21 this morning, and the goal is to move people out of the countryside and into compact cities because they're easier to control that way. I predict there will come a day where we will have North America, in Europe, that will be no-go zones for human beings. And in those plots of land, you'll have these little bots that are on tracks with a heavy machine gun, and they'll just sit there for 50 years and not move. But when something walks by or trips a wire or a sensor, these things will spring to life and either identify whether you're a target or not and just mow it down. Just like landmines. Look at landmines. We've got landmines in areas of the world that were put in place approximately 20 or so years ago, and they're still dangerous today. That's where I think it's going. This is not going to be used to your benefit. It will be used to kill freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of movement, and Skynet is in the driver's seat. Hasta la vista, baby. Over to you, Rhea.
So scary, dude. So scary. And yeah, two things is I tweeted out one. I just want to say hello to someone who's just joined. 71 South on another platform has just joined. Hi 71 South, we've got you. I can see you. If you want it to come up on screen, you need to go to Rhea Bar on YouTube. Yeah, my concern is there's two areas. One, where they tax us without permission, which is the same as robbery. And secondly, these little things called cookies that are in our computers are paying for these behemoths to do these outrageous things. And we've given them all the power by not reading the terms and conditions that we gave them to use these platforms. They're very sneaky, very sneaky. Do you want to take a few comments, Mike?
I do, but first of all, I want to say there's nothing more dangerous than nerds. Nerds are dangerous, people. I know that we slapped them around, stole their lunch money, and stuffed them in lockers in junior high, but the fact is, a nerd will figure out a way to press a button and kill 1 million people on the other side of the planet, where your average bully will just mess you up on the spot and eventually get taken down. Nothing more dangerous than nerds. Let's go to some of the comments here over at Facebook Live. Roger Rowan says, shared far and wide. Share it, people, please. Roger knows how dangerous this is. Jeff Lazier says, Kevin said he will be reviewing what we sent him, but FYI, Canada pensions and other surplus funds are invested in this. And he put in a link to water war crime. Okay. Chloe Girl is back. She says Kevin never went live. I'm going to head over to the live chat over at YouTube. K. Geraldo 24 says, what does he mean when he says we can tell the bad guys from the good guys? Well, that's what you got to ask yourself. That's what you've got to ask yourself. Who are the bad guys and who are the good guys? I guess it depends on who's holding the button, really. Justin Cringe says that's why you shouldn't bully nerds. No, we should give them all a big hug and tea and scones, as Rio would offer them. So this is a very important question. And, you could possibly take one out with a paintball gun or a can of spray paint, possibly a shotgun with a load of rock salt. Speaking of guns, I just got a text message from Hugh Jass.
I thought he was going to pull a gun out then.
He says, where's your gun? I love seeing that badass. It's safely locked away in the locker. I will bring it out next show if you want. I've got a beautiful Heckler & Koch SL84, fires 223 rounds, and if it were not a violation of God's law, I'd make it me wife. He goes on to say, and the UN worries about us with guns? Yeah, that's just it. Well, they do worry about that because they've recognized us as their enemy, and we were talking about Agenda 21 this morning, this set of rules put forth by the United Nations, which incidentally a bunch of politicians in Ottawa signed on to. Therefore, it's for you. I don't know how that works. How somebody can go and sign a law and all of a sudden it blanket affects millions of people who have nothing to do with it and don't understand the law in the first place. That's the first rule of contract, okay? That is an erroneous contract. I can't make a contract and have a 5-year-old put an X on it by saying, oh, look here, kid, if you put a little X on this line, that means I got to give you candy. So the kid goes ahead and signs it, then you turn around and say, oh, but down here it says you got to play in traffic. Sorry, you signed it. No, that's not how it works. The signature of a contract has to understand the terms of said contract or it doesn't work. It's the same thing with the Canadian government signing on to the Agenda 21 agreement. Now I believe they've updated it to Agenda 2030
30.
because they keep getting these little roadblocks. Go ahead, Rhea.
Yeah, God, they're just at it, aren't they? The Agenda 2030, there's been a lot of publicity about it, and it is incredibly scary. And I've heard Alex Jones saying as well, they're out to impoverish us, sort of corral us into this rubbish sort of life of poverty while they just fleece us blind, and we need to do something about it. And the way that we connect through the internet is important to keep this going. That's why I'm going to jump on board with Kevin, because we're kind of in the year of the nerd as well. Not the year, but the decade. To know a nerd is actually pretty useful, or a cool geek. I know loads of cool geeks because I kind of hang out on GitHub,
White hats,
and all that sort of stuff. So I kind of know these people, and they are so cool. Okay, they're a bit different. They'd sooner spend the night coding up an app than talking to me, but that's okay though, right? Whatever floats your boat. But everybody wants someone that's sort of really quite IT literate is jolly useful. That's all I can say. And that's hopefully something that I can bring to the party to get this, our view. In the doghouse, we've learnt to trust each other. Our views don't have to fully overlap, but it is definitely based on trust. Because I think we could all agree, if you don't have trust, you don't have nothing. You don't have nothing. And all these amazing technological breakthroughs, they don't mean anything if you don't trust the people in the driving seat. And we don't trust the people in the driving seat, do we? So every piece of information that could be positive is negative in our minds because we don't trust them. So it would lead to a fundamental question of, how do we bring trust back? And it would start with people like getting Kevin J in power to challenge these people for their own rights that our people paid into. So I won't go into a big monologue. Do you want to take some comments? Because I think there's quite a few there, Mike.
Surfer4 says, I didn't sign that. Exactly. Funky Craig says, hi guys, just checking in. Is this working? Yes, it is, Craig. Welcome to the Doghouse. Glad you could join us. K. Geraldo says, jolly useful, the new skill metric on your CV, LOL. Yeah, Rhea is the hot nerd in the house. There can be hot nerds. They're actually, I kind of like hot chicks in glasses. I don't know why. But, yeah, let's get some more comments. Gary Kemper posted, here is the Canadian branch of the UN Agenda 21. He posted that over in the Facebook Live. That's great, Gary. I'm going to check that out after the show. I'm having a hard time keeping up with these comments.
Okay.
Chloe Garreau says, Mike, what do I type in YouTube to search for Kevin? That's easy, freedomreport.us, or go to kevinjjohnston.com, and that is the BitChute channel where you can see all of his videos. Dave McPherson says, the UN can take their evil agenda and shove it.
I did it for you, sweetie. There it is. You can stick that where the sun don't shine. And we've got a new person on YouTube. We've got Hey Mike and Rhea from Funky Craig. Hey Funky Craig, great name, yeah? Oh, it's okay, so we're going to move it on. We're all on the same page with the UN, right? I mean, what do you do with that? I mean, we've got to get that trust back.
I mean, UN stands for United Nothing. They don't really do.
Oh.
Well, here's what they are good at. They're good at child trafficking. There's been tons and tons and tons of accusations of child trafficking by the UN in third world countries where they go into. It was the same thing with Haiti. They started a cholera epidemic in Haiti after the earthquake. I mean, if you need UN troops in your country, you're in really bad shape, and they're going to make things worse wherever they go. Now, the UN was started as a response to World War II, just like the League of Nations after World War I. The League of Nations folded, though, because they couldn't get anybody to drop their sovereignty. So what did they do? They had a bigger war. And now the UN has had a presence in New York City ever since. Now, it's interesting to note, in front of the UN building in New York, there is a huge sculpture of a revolver with its barrel tied in a knot, which directly flies in the face of the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. United Nations needs to be shut down, disbanded, and possibly criminal charges laid. Do you agree with that, Rhea?
I'm with you all the way. We need to be a bit careful with our wording and everything because there's like 10,000 YouTube trolls out there that are looking to shut it all down. I'm still building safe places. I'm still building firewalls. I'm still building temporary proxies and all that nerdy stuff that nobody wants to talk about, but everybody wants to benefit from a safe place on the internet so that we can use. I'm just going to bring us back out the rabbit hole a second and breathe a second. And I'm going to play the accent and see where we got any more comments. Have a listen. Where's this guy from? I love this accent.
To remind you, we got a lot of guns down here. We hunt, we fish, we burn up the ozone layer with our four-wheel drive trucks and our diesel engines. We refer to women in our lives as dear darling and sweetheart, not as a term that's derogatory or offensive, but as a term of endearment, and most of them tend to like it.
Where's he from? Drop it in the chat. Let us know. I'm going to move it on to another story unless you've got one, Mike.
No, Rod Robinson says the UN can't run because the U.S. pulled its funding. Not all of it, Rod, but they are definitely waving that sword. And the UN's going to have to listen because without the United States, they are done. Same thing with the EU. Everybody's pulling out of the EU now. Poland, Hungary, they're talking about pulling out of the EU. Brexit, I love it. The EU is run by a bunch of ex-Nazis. Jean-Claude Juncker, his family made a bunch of money off of stolen Nazi art. And, again, there needs to be criminal charges, but you were wanting to pull my head out of the proverbial rabbit hole, so I'm going to let you go ahead with things, Rhea.
Okay, we've got a couple more in. Lisa Leto. Hi, Lisa. Has got South Carolina. Okay, so we've got Texas, KH. Oh, no, I'm going to watch everyone you put in now because that vision that I thought that we sort of spoke about you and this, that and the other, I thought it was so lovely. It touched me. Anyway, I'm moving on. I'm thinking, what am I thinking? I'm thinking that Canada could do with its own Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch. Does Canada, Mike, have its own Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch?
Kind of. We've got individuals like Bill Tufts out there. We've got, you're gonna make me think now, aren't you? There is an organization actually that operates a lot like Judicial Watch. I cannot remember the name of it offhand.
Okay.
Hang on and leave it with me. I'll come to it.
Right, sweetie. It sort of smells like bacon when you start to think. Right, I'll move it on. And so we got
That's how you know I'm not a Muslim.
Halal. Right, okay. Well, now I'm just checking out the... No, I'm not even going to say that. Right, some news on Julian Assange, right? Julian Assange may be forced to leave Ecuador embassy after upsetting the El Presidente. Julian Assange may be forced to leave the Ecuador embassy in London, where he has been receiving asylum for the past 5 years. The country is pursuing a third-party, country or individual to facilitate Assange's move from the United Kingdom, according to a Tuesday report on Teleshore. The foreign minister of Ecuador said they are seeking the mediation of a third country or personality so that Julian Assange can leave the embassy in London. So expect some news on that, guys. Any comments on that before I move on to another one, Mike?
Yeah, actually, the individual calling themselves QAnon over at 8chan, formerly 4chan, had actually put out that Donald John Trump is working with Julian Assange and has granted a pardon, so he'll be cleared of all charges. And this is before this all came up.
What about Pompeo?
And so people were thinking that... Sorry?
What about Pompeo? He said he was out for Assange.
Yeah, so I mean, there's always going to be factions within U.S. intelligence that are fighting with each other. That's how the United States is set up. It's supposed to be gridlocked. That's why the founders instituted the three branches of government: judiciary, executive, and Congress, because it's supposed to be gridlocked. It's not supposed to work. There's not supposed to be one all-powerful king that can just write a decree. I mean, what they did was they concentrated a lot of power in the executive branch so that it would be set up that Hillary Clinton could win and have these sweeping powers. Donald John Trump came along, stole it out from underneath her nose, and got all that power. But there's been a lot of speculation for a while now that Assange is already in the U.S. and that all of these articles coming out about his charges being dropped or the Ecuadorian embassy wanting to kick him out and get him out of London is all just a smokescreen to cover up what has already happened. That's, like I said, speculation, but that did come out before this happened.
Okay, let's pick up KH. Thought Assange was freed already during Camp David past weekend. He is no longer in Ecuador. I think you mean the Ecuadorian embassy. I don't know. You know, fill us in, sweetie. Do you know more? I know there's been talk about Assange. I know I'm pretty sure his Twitter's gone sort of really quiet for the past week. So perhaps KH is bringing something to the party there. I'll move on from Assange to another one quickly.
Well, hang on.
Go on.
What she's referring to is what come out while we were talking with April Lejeune on Kevin Jay's show on Americanuck Radio. Oh. And I've got a listener to Americanuck Radio named Deplorable Dave that lives right in the swamp. Cool. He's actually 20 minutes from Camp David, and he said that when the speculation was going on over this was happening, there was a huge amount of helicopter traffic, including the president's helicopter there, Marine Force One, flying over his house on their way to Camp David with no scheduled meetings. So that was happening at the same time. Go ahead, Rhea. I'll let you switch gears.
Okay, darling. No worries. I didn't know that. It's great. Yeah, right. That's what we're all here for. We can all keep each other informed. I've been watching his Twitter account, and yes, the embassy. Thanks, Mike. I don't know what's going on. Like, there's been a bit of a dynamic change, and I don't know exactly what's going on. If you know out there, let us know. Don't forget, check out wikidvid.com, WIKID vid.com, and it might be somewhere where we're going to be building, and we're going to turn that into our safe space. It's there, it's available. I can embed, I can possibly firewall it so we can keep our freedom of speech going. We've got someone else on, Love Canada. Hi, Love Canada. Hello. Greetings from the UK and from Camrose. Mike, I'm ready to move on to another one. Are you ready for another one?
Well, one more thing I've just got to cover. One more comment over at Facebook Live. John Barassa says, holy moly, Mike, look at this chick. Wowza. John, here's the deal. I actually genetically engineered Rhea in the basement. She's, you remember the fembots from Austin Powers? Yeah, that's where I got the idea. So she's a fem news bot, and she's working out just great. You're welcome, John. Go ahead, Rhea.
Okay, sweetie. Hi, John. That's lovely of you, and I like old-fashioned. I love that tech. I love that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm moving on. Right. So, crypto news. Here's a bit about Canada that you may not know about. What could be en route. Cryptos. Miners are leaving China for Quebec. Apparently, talk is word on the nerd chain, and I know a few. That the mining in China, where the bulk of the mining of Bitcoin, and you'll find the live cryptocurrency prices in the bottom of the screen. Look across the bottom left, you'll find Bitcoin price live. The one next to it, you'll find Ethereum live. Miss the other two out, you'll see Litecoin as well, and Bitcoin Cash. So they're live prices being fed in. So they're on about stopping the ICOs and the mining in China. And if so, they're going to be heading for somewhere that can supply the electricity to do the mining. And talk on the grapevine is they could be heading for Quebec. So they might be getting some visitors. Bit more on crypto news, because the people that watch the show regularly know I sort of cover it. I'm into it, and I've been into it a little while. Crypto debit card shut down by CraveWest. So I have a crypto card called WireX. It's been shut down because Visa decided it wasn't in their interest, but there is a plan B coming forward to substitute the new card, so you can still go spendies like I do with a credit card, well, a debit card actually, and I can still spend the money that I make in the crypto market. And on the mainstream news, they've been talking about Ripple. Ripple is the bankster's distributed ledger. It's not the same as all the other currencies. So if you're going to buy Ripple because you've seen it on the mainstream, and it's been all in the Western world because it's the banker's coin, banksters, boo, then get informed before you get into that. Be careful. That's all I can say. Guys, if you like the show, don't forget to do a thumbs up, drop some comments, say it how it is, keep it real. I want to feel the real. I love feeling the real. And do some thumbs up, share it and pass it on down the line. I've got another story if you want to move on, Mike, or if you got one or any comments.
I just have one story. On this day in history, back in 1983, the song "And I Come From the Land Down Under" was #1, and Rhea has a special attachment to that. But Rhea, go ahead with your story.
Yeah, thanks for that, Mike. It's good to have a nice, trustworthy compatriot, I've got to say. What an arse. I'm kind of regretting on a weekly basis that I told him this stuff, but I do love that song. If you're going to build a fembot, she needs to be a bit more sort of subservient, you arse. Right, let's move it on. Right, Intel processor problem, another nerdy one. We've all heard about the Intel processor problem. Did you hear it first? Did you hear it here first? I'm wondering whether you did or not. According to a lot of the talk on there, this wasn't an accident at all. This was a built-in backdoor by Intel, and they've known about it all along, that they can give access to the kernel memory within a computer. If you can get into kernel memory in a computer, you can get into any bit of that computer. So word is amongst the geeks, it was kind of a setup from the get-go. No surprise there. Have I got any more? Here's a little statement that I found just to sort of ramp the fire up a bit. Here's why there's no more press passes for the Clinton Foundation. It appears key authorities may finally be turning strict attention towards answering tough questions about public filing of the Clinton charities inside and outside the United States. Go Charles Ortel. When these powerful organisations encourage motivated minds, they will wish to concentrate on a few areas that have long gone begging for attention, like there's a plethora to get stuck into about the charity thing, but also on that, and also the same thing, the Clinton fire in the house was the same date as Seth Rich's death, wasn't it, Mike?
Yep.
Yeah, that's like stuff going. Is that a coincidence?
No. It was his birthday. I think it was his birthday.
His birthday. There's some coincidences going on there. Right, so we've got some coming in. Should we take some comments? KH?
Let's do it.
Right, okay. Justin, my marijuana socks exploded yesterday, so I cashed them out for $230. Yay. Should have bought one when they were cheap. That's a different kind of humour, that, Jack, I've got to say. It's cool.
Hey, listen. Remember, I told you, Rhea, that to buy stock in Aurora CDB, they're building one of the biggest pot grows on the planet, like the size of 4 football fields, just outside of Edmonton at the same little plot of land that the Edmonton International Airport is on. Listen, I got a buddy that bought stock when it was about $2 a share. It is now up to, I believe, around $14. He made about $1,500 that he pulled out and still has the same amount of stock. So just through day trading, this guy is making between $500 $600 a day with other stocks that he has. So yeah, you can definitely do that. Aurora CBD. I can't remember the code. Just Trudeau Cringe channel, but I will find out. I'll send my buddy a text. He also says, have you ever eaten a Vegemite sandwich? And he's talking about that song by Men of Work, Land Down Under, the one I was referring to either. No, I have never eaten a Vegemite sandwich, and I never would because it looks disgusting, kind of akin to haggis. Would you eat haggis stuffed with Vegemite? Probably not.
I would, but then again, I'm English and there's no explaining it. Okay, let's move off from that subject quickly. Right, here's another one. Have we got any comments on Facebook, sweetie, that we need to pick up on?
Yeah, Kelly Elizabeth says, Mike, what's the name of your show? My show is Americanuck Radio, syndicated by the Genesis Communications Network, same network that brought you Alex Jones, Steven Crowder, Roger Stone, Roger Stone used to be right on before us, incidentally, before InfoWars swallowed him up. But you can catch all of my shows in podcast form at AmericanHockeyRadio.com. We're live 2 to 4 Central Standard Time every single Saturday. And you can catch the live stream from the network, which incidentally has affiliates in the United States, at AmericanHockeyRadio.com. That's AmericanUCKRadio.com. Lynn Seaman says, let's talk about Trudeau's ties with terrorists, Cotter, Boyle, and Bin Laden. Yeah, I mean, that's too easy. We do that all the time on Kevin Jay's show. We've only got about 3 minutes left. What is on your mind, Rhea?
Right, let's play the accent again. Let's have the finals in for the accent. Where's this guy from?
To remind you, we got a lot of guns down here. We hunt, we fish, we burn up the ozone layer with our four-wheel drive trucks and our diesel engines. We refer to women in our lives as dear darling and sweetheart, not as a term that's derogatory or offensive, but as a term of endearment, and most of them tend to like it. We teach our children to say ma'am and sir to their elders, and to do so for the rest of their lives as a sign of respect, no matter how old they get.
How good is that? I really like him a lot. Okay, go on, Mike.
I know the CEO of a big company in Utah, good friend of mine, and that is exactly how it sounds like him.
Okay.
Have you been snooping around in my life, harassing people that I know to get their accents? Rhea, is that what's going on here?
No, I found him. He's a very sexy guy, actually, I've got to say. And I spotted him visually first, went, oh, you're quite nice. And then I heard him speak and went, okay, yeah, that'll do. Rob Robinson, will the Justin Trudeau globalists take the 200,000 Salvadorians? Wow, have I already done that one, have I?
Yeah, okay, so I know what is being referred to there.
That's my next story.
Around 200,000.
Oh,
that's your next story?
It's my next story.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. You lead off.
Salvadorian asylum seekers could test Canada's immigration system with their temporary protected status under the US law. Salvadorians may see Canada as an option. So, Rob, we're in tune. Hi, Phoebe. Do you want to pick it up, Mike?
Yeah, most likely they will. Yeah, I've actually known lots of El Salvadorians that were actually really awesome people that were up here escaping the wars back in Central America in the 90s and 80s. So, but I mean, how many immigrants can we take in? Are we going to save the world? You know what I mean? It's getting to the point where it's ridiculous. And as we were pointing out before, great people like Jane Gruber, there are people here who are in economic dire straits and that need help, and we can't help them, but we can reach out to everybody else on the planet. My guess is that the El Salvadorians will get messages from the Clinton Foundation or some other bogus organization in the United States through the WhatsApp app that they get free on their phones, which is what happened with the Haitians when they started coming across the Quebec border. So, given the Canadian government's past performance, probably.
Yeah, totally. It wouldn't be a surprise at all, would it? I've been there as well, and it's kind of different kind of place. Right, so okay, we've got to start closing this thing out. So the accent, guys, we've got Utah, Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Louisiana, another Texas, Alabama, Winnipeg, far out, Arizona, Texas, South Carolina. Have I missed any? I don't think I have. But I'm gonna.
I don't think so.
I'll tell you where it's from. Look, one more listen. I'll tell you.
Oh, Jane Gruber said Michigan here.
Oh, Michigan. Okay.
Michigan. Yeah.
Michigan. Do they sound like that in Michigan? Okay, right. I'll play it one more time, then I'll tell you.
To remind you, we got a lot of guns down here. We hunt, we fish, we burn up the ozone layer with our four-wheel drive trucks and our diesel engines. We refer to women in our lives as dear darling and sweetheart, not as a term that's derogatory or offensive, but as a term of endearment, and most of them tend to like it. We teach our children to say ma'am and sir to their elders, and to do so for the rest of their lives as a sign of respect, no matter how old they get.
How cool is he? He's from Texas. Yay!
He is from Texas. Okay, we had 2 last-minute submissions, Manitoba and Nevada. But yeah, he is a Texan. All
He's a
right,
Texan,
so I
he
was
had the
wrong
hat
again. I don't think
on.
I've gotten one of these right.
Yeah. No. You're busy though, aren't you, with the sort of important things? So we'll just let that slide. That's why he's programmed me, guys.
Yeah,
just
I've
to let
got
it
to
slide.
make sure that my evil fembot isn't out destroying the planet. So I've got my hands full.
Leave it with me. Right, okay, so Mike, what have you got for the doghouse today? We're gonna have, and you guys at home as well, what have you got for the doghouse?
The doghouse, who is my nominee? I would have to say Justin Trudeau.
Oh, what, again?
Again, yeah.
That's lame.
I've got it in for him.
Well, no, that's fair enough, but it's pretty lame. Okay, so I don't want to be an
Okay, all right, whoa. All right. Nerds. Dangerous nerds. That I changed
That's
it from
okay.
Justin Trudeau to killer nerds that make robots to take out the people that gave them wedgies their whole life.
Okay, and you're in the doghouse then. Dangerous nerds. And I know loads of good nerds and cool geeks, so we're on top of the bad nerds. And my one for the doghouse today is the people that are out to get Kevin J a little chance for a grassroots movement and they want to squash it. So you're in the doghouse, bitch. I don't like any of you. And we're going to build resources, right what we're doing now. And I'm going to set this thing up and everybody's going to know about it. I'm going to have tea with the Queen and tell her. Do you know what I mean? That's the deal. Right, so I'm going to do a few shout outs before I go. I know we got some comments, but bear with me. Okay, so shout outs. Project Veritas has just done a new release regarding Trump's on topic. We've got Bill Church, the anarchist, quite spiritual, an animal behaviourist, on a guest on the 19th of this month. That's not this Friday, but next. Must watch shout outs is the World Crypto Network. If you want to learn about cryptos, whether you're a beginner or advanced, I'd say this is more of an advanced thing. Check out the World Crypto Network. They know what they're on about. A website shout out is wickedvid.com. It looks as though that's where we're going. So it's WIKID wickedvid.com. That's where you'll catch us, plus loads of other content, the latest news headlines from all your favourites, and it's a glossary of what the alternative media is saying on one page as well as others. Don't forget to like, do a thumbs up, do a share, let everybody know. We're live on Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 noon Eastern Standard. Mike, would you like to do your finals?
Yeah, Zena Winsell says, wonderful show, by the way. It was Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. She loves the show. Zena, we love you too, and I love your
We do.
picture. Looks like a Canadian gray wolf there. John Barassa says, send your fembot here, brother. I would, but we've had failures with packaging before. The batteries tend to overheat, and so just give me some time. We're going to go into mass production soon. This one seems to be working fine. Ricky Wright says, getting the word out about this dog. Rick in Alberta, you're awesome, man. Albertans are special people. The rest of Canada's great too, but Alberta is a special place. It's just great. I love Alberta. It's more like a state than a province, to be quite honest with you. In my reckoning, I have more in common with people in Montana than, say, Quebec or Ontario. But I do love the people of the other provinces as well. And keep spreading the word. Let's fill this room and awaken people. And I promise my fembot will behave.
Yeah. Over your dead body, sweetie. Right, so...
If she doesn't kill me.
Yeah, I have ways. What we got? Hey guys, thank you for coming in. We're looking to build this constant stream, or as constant as we can, and keep it safe. All you guys are of a certain intellect, so some things don't need to be said directly, because that kind of direct talk, until I've got everything sorted out as much as I can, or get the thing shut down. But we need to get behind the movement, and the fundamental thing that we need to build it on, that I went out my way to build the doghouse on, was trust. Somewhere you can keep it real. I want to feel the real. I don't mind if I don't agree with you, but I want to feel it, and that is what we're lacking. So guys, that's the end of the show, I'm afraid. We'll see you Friday at 12 midday EST if you want to come along. Thank you for everybody saying it's a lovely show. You are welcome anytime. There's Thunderjet. I said, I hope you got my message, Thunderjet, a while ago. I left you a message. That would be good. Justin is a weasel. Okay, guys, we've got to shut it down because we're over time again. We can't get this thing within an hour. What a nightmare. We're going to see you another day. I'm going to play you out with some stuff and check out the topics on the board. Until then, love and peace from me always. Bye-bye.
See you on Friday, everybody. We'll be back this Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in North America. Join us, Zena, Ricky, Beverly, John, and all the rest of you. Her name was Rhea. She was a fembot.
Shush. Go be redneck.